Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Girl.
Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Girl Be You podcast. I am Gigi, your host. And here at this podcast, we are creating a space for you to be your most authentic self in a world that is filled with chaos. Y'all, I am so happy to be back. It has truly, truly been a long minute. And since that minute, there has been so much going on. And I'm so excited to be back on the mic, to be sharing with you guys, to be back in my safe space, back where I can share my heart, share my inspiration, and encourage you and inspire you to truly, truly to girl be you. Let's get right into the episode. I've been gone too long and I'm ready to chat it up with y'all. So let's get started. I wanted to share this meme or this post that I saw because as of late, I've been in a place that has been extremely uncomfortable. It is true that sometimes you can pray for things and really believe that you're ready for it. And then when it's time, it becomes so uncomfortable. And that is where I have been. It's just been a lot of stuff going on. But I wanted to share this small meme that I saw, and it says, when you're nervous about stepping outside of your comfort zone, remind yourself of this. It feels scary because it's unfamiliar, not because you are incapable. And honestly, there's been so much stuff that I've been seeing that, sits in my heart. There are things that have pushed me further to do the things that are both uncomfortable and scary. But that reminded me that I'm not incapable. I am just unsure and unfamiliar with this territory. And I wanted to share that at the opening of this episode because if you're like me, there have been moments that you feel like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if the dream that I have inside of my head is really able to come true. I don't know if the dream that I have been dreaming since a little girl, if it can really come true for me. I don't think that I am even capable of doing these things. But that post, along with so many other things and reminders of the things that I've already accomplished, helped me to see you're not incapable. It's just unfamiliar. And I find peace in that. Even getting back on this mic after such a long break, I find peace and find joy in knowing that I may not be the master of everything, but nothing beats failure other than a try. And every day, every moment that I get, I want to show up and try, right? I want to try, even if I'm uncertain and even if it's unfamiliar. Girl, you are not incapable. It just means that you're venturing to some unfamiliar things, and it means that you are about to launch into the greatest season of your life, even if it means learning to rest, even if it means unlearning to be anxious. Because that's me, y'all. I am learning to be um, full of rest and not leaning into anxiety or worry or any of the things that I have leaned into in my former years and when I was younger, because I realized that it doesn't serve me. It only drives me to be the person that I don't want to be. And the person that I want to be is that fearless person that shows up, that may be scared, it may be unfamiliar, but hell, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it. Okay. So I just wanted to open this episode with that quote. Y'all, let's get into this week's episode. I am recording this podcast from the city of Dallas. And if you follow us on Instagram and if you follow the newsletter and all the amazing things, you know that we have packed up and moved from Chicago, and we did the cross country move from Chicago to Dallas. And I am recording this podcast in Dallas. I am so excited to be back in Texas, back in Dallas, and my mind is blown of how quickly we got here. So back in March, my husband interviewed for a promotion for a job. We knew that it could possibly be in Texas, but we didn't know how it was going to go. So in March, he interviewed for the position. This was like maybe second week in March, he interviewed for the position. He got the position. And then we were just going to find out like what happened. I did not know that the position was for Dallas. But when he told me that he got the position, I literally was screaming on the phone. I couldn't believe it because our private prayer was that we definitely wanted to go back south. We wanted to go someplace that we were both familiar with. My husband once lived in Austin. And of course, I lived in Dallas 6 years ago. And so us packing up, moving across country and moving to Dallas was definitely something that we wanted to do. We just didn't know how we were going to do it. And so in March, he interviewed for the promotion and the job, and he got the job. And they notified him that he would be needing to move to Dallas, and we were super excited. Well, we thought that we would have a little bit of time, but it didn't work out like that. It happened very quickly. And so interviewed mid-March. By the third week of March, I want to say, we found out that we will be moving in less than a month. By what was it, Easter? No, it was before Easter. I think we told our family. We slowly start telling them once we got a date of when we would be moving. So of course we started with my family because I talk to my family every single day, and like we're a very close knit family. So we started with my family. Of course, my mother was very sad. My father was excited. My brothers were kind of sad a little bit. And of course, my sisters were definitely sad. But but we were excited. They were excited for us. And so literally we had less than a month to move out of our condo, figure out what we were going to sell, what we were going to keep, pack up our things, figure out the logistics of moving from Chicago to Dallas, and making sure that we got here in time for my husband's first day of work, which was literally, we drove down Thursday. No, we drove down Friday, like Thursday night, Friday, and my husband started work that Saturday. So literally, we have been in Dallas for 3 weeks. So again, we had to figure out moving, figure out getting out of our lease, figure out our condo situation, figure out moving logistics. And while we were doing that, my birthday came up. I wanted to do something amazing because y'all know I love my birthday. And so we ended up having a birthday slash going away party. And I got to hang out with my good friends, my very close knit friends. We had drinks. I celebrated my 41st birthday, and we celebrated Easter with the family. And after that, we were on the road to Texas. And I can't even tell you the amount of how much life changes so very quickly. While I was extremely ecstatic, my husband and I both, I was super ecstatic because he had got a promotion. He was starting a new venture, and I know that he really, really wanted to do that. I don't have a traditional job. My job literally is creating content, podcasting, doing the Patreon, doing all the things that I love. And so life looks and feels very different for me. So the minute we got here, I was very excited, but then it settled into my heart that, like, yo, all of my friends that I had when I was here 6 years ago, I still have them because I made sure that we stay connected because that's just the type of person that I am. But also, there was this um grieving of my past. And if y'all follow me, y'all know that I have been going through it for the past 4 years. Not just grieving my grandmothers, but grieving just people in my life. My uncle, who passed away days before our wedding, an aunt of mine who passed away in, I believe, 2021, and then just so much grief, but then so many amazing things happening, right? And so there's such a duality in my life of grief, happiness, and new beginnings. And so coming to Dallas has been the most amazing yet life-changing thing that I have ever been that I've ever done in my life. And I was talking to one of my cousins earlier this week, and I was just checking in with her, and I was like, "Hey, how are you?" And she asked me, and I asked me how I was doing, and I was like, and she asked how Texas was treating me because, again, we've been here for only 3 weeks, and I told her that my experience here is different than what it was 6 years ago because I am a different person, and that that thought process has truly been something to truly embrace, right? It's been not only 6 years ago, I was single, I was just getting started with really diving into Girl Be You and figuring out this is really what I want to do and creating a community around Girl Be You and getting comfortable with showing my face and getting comfortable with sharing who I was. And, there were a lot of there were a lot of ways about myself that was immature, and there were things about me that I had glorified that were not really feeding me. And when I say glorify, it means that, like, relationships, friendships, family relationships that I held to very high esteem that weren't really feeding me, but I was feeding it, and it was really draining me. And I held a lot of things very high in my mind at that time. And hopefully that makes sense. But the relationships that I had, I thought that those were the things that were going to, um, I thought those were the things that I was always going to have, right? I thought those were the staples in my life. And within these 6 years coming back to Dallas, I realized that they aren't. I have matured in ways that I never thought that I would ever mature. There are things about me that have changed drastically. My perspective has changed. What I value has changed. Relationships that I thought I would have forever, I don't necessarily have. And when I say I don't necessarily have, it only means that I have them, but they are not the driving point of my life. I am more settled. I only want peace in my life. I have chosen not to follow certain things on social media or not be present on social media. And though it has just really, really, being back this time is a completely different experience. Once we got settled, after bringing everything in the house, I stood in the living room of our condo and I cried. It's comical now, but also very sobering. And the reason that I cried was because I thought coming back to Dallas was going to be a particular way in my mind. I thought that Dallas was going to be very similar to how it looked 6 years ago. And when it didn't, I was disappointed. Not disappointed, like sad that I was back or that things weren't right. I just thought that life was going to be similar. And as I stood there, I could hear God audibly saying, "How dare you be ungrateful?" And now my foundation is God and my foundation is prayer. And I know that I can hear God's voice and I know that I can see God in different things, right? I'm not trying to be all deep and none of that stuff because y'all know that ain't me. But what I am saying is that in that moment of me crying about why my life wasn't how it used to be, God reminded me to be grateful. He reminded me that prior to us getting here, we didn't really know like where we were going to live. We were going back and forth on like this apartment, that apartment, da 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 da, what area, da 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 da, because the areas have changed after 6 years. Everything is very different. But I was standing in a prayer that was answered with 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, everything that I prayed for. So as I stood in the living room crying because my life did not look how I thought that it should look based on 6 years ago, God told me, and I can hear him say, "How dare you be ungrateful?" And when those words came, and when I heard those words, I was reminded of the prayer that I prayed while I was in Chicago. And one thing about me is I'm definitely going to pray. But I'm going to pray and I'm going to make it between me and God because it ain't none of y'all business what me and the Lord talk about. But I will bring you into this prayer that I prayed while I was in Chicago and while we were figuring out and navigating the logistics of where we were going to live. I asked God for a 2 bedroom condo because I didn't want to live necessarily in an apartment. I was okay with that, but I wanted to have a 2 bedroom home that my husband and I could have an office in where I could record my podcast, and we can record all the content that we have. I prayed for 2 bathrooms because if you know, you know. It's always nice to have 2 bathrooms. I wanted a walk-in closet. I wanted a kitchen that was, very aesthetically pleasing. I wanted a fireplace because we had that at our home prior to moving to our home before this. And I wanted a patio. I wanted a patio that I could decorate, that my husband and I can sit on, or I can sit on to just breathe in, to take a deep breath. And let me tell y'all something. As I stood in that living room crying about, oh, this isn't the life that I had when I was here before, hearing that word of how dare you be ungrateful, I was crying, but I had to smile because I was like, "You're right, God. You're right. You're right." And I realized that I was standing in an answered prayer. Ooh, baby. I was standing in an answered prayer. I was literally standing in an answered prayer. I was standing in an answered prayer, y'all, and that's all I can say. And the neighborhood, I was complaining about, oh, the neighborhood isn't what I like. It doesn't look the way I want it to look. When I tell you guys shut me down, because we've been exploring the neighborhood. Like when my husband gets off work or if he has a day off, we're like, all right, let's just go around the neighborhood. Y'all, we are literally 2 minutes away from everything. Several grocery stores, several places to eat and hang out. Just, girl, how dare you be ungrateful with your old ungrateful ass? Girl, can I just tell you that let my moment with God chin checking me, let this be a moment that resounds with you, that you are standing in an answered prayer. Is everything perfect? Absolutely not. But am I full of gratitude for God answering the prayer? Ooh, yes. And child, I am fighting back tears because I'm standing in an answered prayer. Listen, don't be ungrateful. Don't be ungrateful. Please don't be ungrateful. Be thankful for every single thing that you have. Be grateful for every moment that you have to start over. Be grateful because you get a chance to start over with a clean slate and you can do whatever you want to do. You are not tied to your old self. You can learn, you can unlearn, and you can truly, truly start over. And you can pray a prayer that God will hear and He will answer it. Baby, I am in the thick of things in my life. Things are not perfect, but I'm grateful. Things are going to turn around, and I know they will turn around because I just believe that God is going to turn my situation around. He is going to make it, He's going to give me beauty for ashes. Woo-hoo. And it's a beautiful story, okay? I don't even want to stay here too long because baby, I turn this podcast into a sermon, huh? You don't know me. You do not know me. But listen, I'm just so excited to be back on the mic. I'm excited to be sharing with y'all. And I want you all to be a part of the Girl Be You community, right? I want you to join this community because it's moments like this that you can lean into, that you can be inspired, that you can know that things don't have to be perfect. They can be uncomfortable, they can be unfamiliar, and you can still thrive. Live from a place of gratitude, okay? Please live from a place of gratitude. And don't be like me, crying over your past and wishing things could be the way they used to be. Girl, you get to start over. You get to start over with a clean slate. Look at that. Look how the sun is coming out as I'm talking about this. Ah! So excited. Anyway, listen, I want you to be a part of the Girl Be You community. If you're not already, I want you to join the newsletter because I give away so many things. We talk about so much stuff. The Patreon is live with more content, y'all. It's coming. It's coming, y'all. It's so much stuff. I have behind the scenes. I have content with the Cunninghams project because I know y'all be nosy. Y'all be trying to figure out. But listen, I just want to share it with y'all. I want y'all to be a part of the community. Make sure you go get your journal off of Amazon. Join the Patreon. Join the newsletter. Also, join the book club because we are in our 5th book. I got to see what book I'm on because y'all know that I have a goal of 40 books. I don't even know where I am with my journey yet or where I am. I don't know where I am on my quest of the 40 books, but I'm there. Okay. So thank y'all so much for joining me. I'm back, y'all. I'm back for real this time. For real. Every day I'm showing up. Every day, every day, every day. I'm showing up. Y'all, thank you so much for joining the podcast. Thank you so much for joining the newsletter. Thank you for joining the community. Y'all come over here. We're going to be inspired to be authentically ourselves. Nobody else. We're going to be ourselves. Y'all, thank you so much for joining this week's podcast. Until next time, girl, be you. Bye, y'all.
Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Girl, be you. That's all that you